Hey YouTube, it's Alexi Giovanni here, and welcome back to my channel. If you're here to learn how to make purple hyacinth and purple tulips and increase your chances to get that, you've come to the right place. And this video is a redo of a previous video which I'll link above. This one in particular though is more of a grow with me episode. So you'll get to see as it happens for each of these flowers as they breed. So you can see in this first zone here that goes across the screen are pairs of yellows and reds for both hyacinth and tulip. They're all from seeds, that you can get them from the shop, or leaf. And any offspring that these pairs create will be moved from zone 1 into zone 2 as I'm circling around. So what will happen is each of these pairs will create a 50% chance for a orange or a 50% chance for a yellow. Hopefully you can distinguish the difference between the fully grown flowers at stage 4 versus the buds of stage 3. I'll link another video that I've done before that explains these, but I'm taking all of the tulips from zone 1 and transferring them into zone 2. And to keep it simple, I'm just going to keep the same orientation. So you'll see that there's a red middle row that goes across in zone 1. I'm going to keep the same middle row, but instead of red, I'll be using orange. Again, less to mess with my mind. So I only managed to get 3 of these tulips, so I will get different results. But the good thing about putting them into this zone straight away is as soon as I get anyone around to water, they will clone. So chances are that I'll get more yellow tulips tomorrow. But with my luck, I'll probably get more oranges. Now let's move over to the hyacinth. And like we did with the tulips, I'm going to grab all the hyacinth in one hit and transfer them from zone 1 into zone 2 in that middle tier there. And again, I'll maintain the same layout, so I'm going to put the yellows at the very bottom so it's in line with zone 1. And you can see that I've also used colouring on the floor, so that way it keeps me honest to know that I'm using seeds or original parents coming from the dark path versus the snow now that we've got winter in oak tree. And one of my guests unfortunately plucked this yellow flower, so as a result of that, that red actually cloned itself. So unfortunately, that's just a red clone, seed clone, which I could use, but I'll later bin it. So we've got some more yellows from this bottom. These are exactly the same as zone 1, just gave me a little bit extra. So in this case, it gave me an extra 1 flower. So again, 50% chance of orange, 50% chance of yellow. In this case, I lucked out and just got yellows in this case. So let's hope that tomorrow brings more oranges, especially from a hyacinth point of view. So I'm going to grab some people around to help me water, maximize those water bonuses, and see how we go tomorrow. So stay tuned and stick around for tomorrow. Officially day 1, let's have a look at what we got out of zone 2. So we've got a couple of the orange tulips that have cloned, which is great. And one of the flowers have bred, so be careful, make sure that the one that you're picking is from the right pair. Let's get cracking into pulling these from zone 1 into zone 2. So we'll start with the orange tulips and we'll put them in the same formation, again in the middle. And next we'll grab the yellow hyacinth and pull those into zone 2. So we've got a few of those today, but one of those is actually an orange, which is great. But we do have an influx of yellows, which we'll manage with time. But what I'll do is take the oranges that we've got, since we've only got the 2, is I'll put them into a separate zone here to clone them. So with tomorrow, hopefully we'll get another 2 to really maximize our chance of getting these oranges. I'll continue pulling the flowers from zone 1 into zone 2. Remember, these are 50% either yellow or orange, so they're all good to go into zone 2. So really we're just filling in the blanks. Let me know in the comments below whether you've picked my mistake when I did plant them originally, so I put them off by 1, so I'm just replanting those there. And a little bit more of housekeeping here, so we're moving the yellows into this spot, and that fixes all the yellow hyacinth. We head now into day 2, and see how many more flowers we can pull there to complete more of zone 2. We've only got the 4 pairings so far of the tulip. Now let's have a look at to see how many of these orange hyacinth were actually cloned. It looks like both of them were, so it means we went from 2 to 4, which is awesome. And now we'll pull the rest of the oranges to complete more of zone 2. So let's see if I can place these in the right spot. So I'm going to pair all the oranges with the yellows that are existing there, and I'll need to clean this up a little bit. So we've had a few spawns of tulip, which we don't necessarily want in this case, so I'm going to plant the oranges where they need to be. And if my math is correct, I think that completes all of the hyacinth pairings. I'll plant this last one that I've got in my pocket, and I'll grab the other one that's sitting in that cloning area that I used before, which gave us an extra 2. So I think I've got 1 spare by count. And I'll grab a pair of the tulips now, so a yellow and an orange from zone 1 into zone 2. And that does leave us with 1 final little lonely tulip, which can't be used yet until we get another yellow from zone 1. So we just have to wait for time. I've got an extra pair of hyacinth, which I've put down to the bottom there, which hopefully will increase our chances of the equivalent of zone 2. And I've cleaned this up a little bit, so this is what it looks like in its final state. But given that we've got that lonely little tulip there, I'm going to pluck it just so it can focus more energy on the flowers that we need. We're in day 3 now, and we are looking for any creations out of zone 2. We're looking for things like a blue or an orange hyacinth, as well as a black or an orange tulip, obviously in addition to the purples of hyacinth and tulip. Here I've taken one of the oranges that's been created out of zone 2, and I've planted it all by itself so that once it gets watered, it will clone and create a copy of itself, so that when it breeds, it will matchmake with its own type, which sounds a bit weird. I can now grab one of the yellow tulips that have been produced from zone 1 and put it into zone 2 to pair with that bud that we've got there that's ready to breed at the bud stage. Given that we've got an excess of these orange tulips from zone 1, I've paired them in groups so that they can breed and left enough space for them to actually create some output. So any of those oranges potentially can create a purple tulip, if you're lucky. Day 4 feels lucky, and it really is. Check that out. We've got a purple tulip, which in zone 2 you have a 6.25% chance of creating a purple tulip, which is low, but it's really possible. And we've got a black tulip, which in itself is a very good output. And man, check that! We've also got a purple hyacinth. All that in day 4. And just like the tulip, it is 6.25% chance to get a purple out of zone 2. But now let's look at the black tulip. So there's 2 types of black tulips that can be generated out of zone 2. There's a good one and there's a bad one. But we won't know that until we plant it by itself so that it can clone, breed with its own kind, and check its output over a course of days to see if it consistently creates black, or if you're in a lucky state, that 25% chance of a purple tulip. Now this orange area that I've generated here has created an orange hyacinth, which is the same as generating an orange from zone 2. So again, I'm going to take this one because when you have an orange produced out of zone 2, it has, again, like the black tulip, has 2 different types. There's a good one and there's a not so good one. So we're hoping that by cloning this, after it finds itself and clones with its own kind, it will generate a 25% chance of a purple. Now we won't know that again until we breed it over time. Since we've got another one of these oranges, I'll put into a separate section again to clone, with the hope that it's one of these island oranges. And this is what it looks like when you have a purple tulip or a purple hyacinth in your pocket. How good does that look? We've taken all of the good stuff out of zone 2. All that's left now is trash, so I'm going to go and clean this up and get some people around to water. See you tomorrow. Day 5, I'm going to skip right past zone 1 because I don't really care about it right now. I care more about zone 2. And we've got another black tulip, which is brilliant. Wait. Do you see what I see? Do you see that purple tulip? Out of the oranges. So we got the purple tulip, which is created 6.25% of the chance, which is the same equivalent as what you would out of zone 2. But because I had an excess of those, I increased my chances. And here I've got another clone of both the orange and the purple tulip, which didn't fall into the right spot. So I'm just going to move them just so it sits inside that dark area so that I know which ones are the parents. And again, I do that mainly just to remember myself, because sometimes I don't play every single day, and it's nice to know that the parents are always inside the dark dirt, so I can always just look at the snow area for the offspring, of course. That leaves me with that black tulip, which I need to focus on. The problem is I don't have any space for it, so because we've already finished all of what we need for zone 2, we don't need zone 1 so much, so I'm just going to tidy this area and make the use of the space and put that black tulip there by itself, again to clone. And I'm going to also clean up just these tulips here just to avoid confusion. So these are the seeds. You can keep them off to the side if you want to continue or increase your chances, but I don't need them, so I'm just going to bin these guys. And it's day 6 and we have another black tulip out of zone 2. So I'm going to place it off to the side here so that it will clone to breed with itself. And whilst I'm at it, it looks like the other black tulip that we had in this repurposed zone 1, which is now zone 3, to clone with itself. And still on the topic of black tulips, it looks like this pair has created one black offspring. So what I'll do is I'll mark the ground just so that I can know its history as to how many times it's bred a particular color or represented a particular color. Day 7 has hit us and it looks like that black tulip pair have created a black tulip, so I'll mark that down with a black spot. And I'll link another video of mine that shows you how to make these black spots for yourself. I'll mark this pair because it's created another black tulip. And I'll usually do this up until about 3 spots. And once we get that 4th offspring is where I'll pull that flower out if it's consistently creating the black. And again, I'm marking the orange spots as well for the hyacinth. And onto our housekeeping for the orange hyacinth that I have here. It looks like it has cloned. So I'm going to put it back into the dark dirt so that I know it's a pair that I want to keep, and with any luck we'll get a offspring from that particular pair. Now let's have a look at zone 2 and see if there's any other goodies in here. And it looks like we've got a blue hyacinth, which is really good news. That means that it's an island blue, so all we need to do is clone that and pair itself, so 2 of these blues, to create a potential 25% chance of a purple hyacinth. And I didn't mention it directly before, but it is important to pull up the flowers that are generated that you don't want, so that there is space for the pair of flowers to breed into. So again, it's just a cleaning exercise that you tend to do. Look after your flowers each and every day. And I usually look at the good ones first, and then everything else that's left I just trash. And here we've got a bunch of orange hyacinth that were created out of zone 1, which would normally go into zone 2, but you can see that it produces a blue, and that happens at 6.25% of the chance. I'm going to place this blue one over here just in isolation for now. I'll clean this when I get a chance, but I will pair it with the other blue that we've seen earlier in zone 2. So that will give us hopefully a 25% chance to get a purple. I'm going to use this opportunity now to clean this up and create little isolation chambers. And here you can see in the next day, for day 8, that we have got some offspring. So in this case, we've got a clone of the orange. And it looks like we also have an orange that was generated out of that orange pairing, and another orange over here. So again, I'm just marking that on the ground so I can keep track of which flowers generate which colors. And at 10% of the chance of getting a black tulip, we've done relatively well here. So I'm going to use this black tulip that was generated out of zone 2 and put it into an effective zone 3 so that we can see how it tracks over time. Let's have a look at the blue hyacinth that was generated off to the right there. So it looks like it's generated a blue, which in itself is a good thing, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. So I'll just finish marking the ground here. So we have a 3rd offspring of black, which is kind of looking like it's a bad black tulip. If it is a good black tulip, there's a 25% chance that you get a purple, but obviously 75% of the time you might get a black. So you still have to be a little bit patient when it comes to these. If you can grow it for more than that and you have the patience, feel free to keep going, but 3 or 4 blacks in a row is for me good enough to prove that it's a bad black tulip. Now back onto our blue hyacinth. In this case, this pair of blue hyacinth have created yet another blue of itself, and when it does this, it is exactly the same as its parent. So I'll plonk this here so that it can clone, so we have more of a chance of a purple. And day 9 has brought us some more goodies. We've got another blue out of zone 2 for hyacinth, and we have another purple tulip, along with a black tulip. Here we've got an example of a good orange, one of the island oranges that we can create out of the zone 2 offspring of oranges. So that's one of the good ones. It gives you 25% chance of a purple hyacinth. And again, don't forget to look for those blue hyacinth out of zone 2 because it will get you that little bit closer to a purple hyacinth 25% of the time. And another reminder to make sure that you pull out the black tulips out of zone 2 because they can potentially be a good type of black tulip. If these 2nd generation hyacinth ever create a red, blue or white, it means that they're exactly the same orange as in zone 2. So it means they still have a chance to create purple, but just not that 25% chance, which is what we're trying to get to. I'll continue marking the ground with the spots of colours that are created from these parents. So I've marked down a red as well as the red that's produced in this blue pairing as well. Even though these blues are a good type, I want to keep those ones. Day 10 brings us some more joy. We've got the blue hyacinth, which themselves create that 25% chance of purple, which they did. And in this case, the black tulip is one of the good types, which does give you purple tulips 25% of the chance. And check that out, that blue also created some more purple. And it doesn't stop there, because it continues in zone 2 to create black tulips, purple tulips, and more blue hyacinth. And don't forget orange tulips as well. Let me explain a little bit more here. To increase your chances that little bit more when it comes to purple tulips, you can watch for the orange tulips generated out of zone 2 as well. So I'm going to dig this guy up and I'm going to put it over in isolation over here, and using the same technique to have it clone and then breed with its own type. When you finally get 2 of these oranges out of zone 2 and pair them together, if you ever get a red, a black, or a white, it means it's the exact same type as what's in zone 2. So just get rid of it. Again, just a reminder, it is useful to have people around to come and help you water your flowers so that you can maximize the offspring growth. Here I've got Amanda, who is about to switch into her farmer outfit to help me with the watering. I'll put a link in the description that explains the flower bonus and the benefits of having guests around to water your flowers. Here are 2 that have paired and have actually created a purple tulip. So you've got multiple options to how to get these purple flowers, whether they're tulips or hyacinth. If you've enjoyed this video and got something out of it, please give it a like, do subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and comment below. Let me know if this has worked for you. This is Alexi Giovanni signing off, and until the next video, see ya!